säubernde Mai gegeben hat, hat sie auch Spuren hinterlassen. Und diese Spuren haben wir ja jetzt nach oben wieder damit zu kämpfen. Die haben wir hier gehabt als wunderbare Trends, die wir auch zum Short-Aufbau oder Nachkaufpositionen oder was weiß ich, Woche zu Woche genutzt haben, und die sehen genauso jetzt nach oben wichtig. Wir haben, wie gesagt, in diesen Bereichen als erste Mode und Hindernis geredet. Für mich ist, wenn der Markt noch darüber geht, die beiden Bereiche zu beachten, nämlich die lila markierte Linie bis 28,9, und darüber brauche ich dir jetzt nicht sagen, was sich getan hat. Also Kerze gerade ging der Markt einfach nach oben. Kerze gerade, das nennt man genau das, hat jemand mir auch in Instagram geschrieben. Heilige Punkt, 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 das gibt's ja nicht. Darüber hält ein bisschen und dann wirklich wie Rakete. Ja, ist es ja. Genau so ist es. Das ist so, wenn du eine Flasche einfach mal der Hand davor hältst und schüttelst, und wenn du loslässt, dann wie eine Rakete geht es nach oben. Das sind deswegen so wichtig und ja, wichtig halt. Ich habe dann hier geschrieben in meinem Instagram-Account bei 30.000. Ich habe auch im Nasdaq meine Positionen, Long-Positionen jetzt deswegen reduziert. Also
neuer Motor übrigens, wenn du den haben willst, ohne die ganzen Anbauteile, kostet bei Mercedes 60.000 Euro. Also, das ist die Unvernunft in Person, aber genau deswegen wollen wir das fahren. Kannst du bitte einmal den Motor anschmeißen? Hab ich. Weil das ist natürlich das Verkaufsargument für dieses Fahrzeug. Ja, weil, ganz im Ernst. Ach so, sag mal ganz kurz, was kostet der? 50, ne?
Den kannst du für 49,9 haben.
Siehst du, wie es funktioniert?
Wir gleich reingucken, ob es da die eine oder andere Überraschung vielleicht gibt.
Das ist dreckig, dreckig.
185.000 Kilometern oder sowas.
Das ist dreckig, ja, schlimm.
Mal rein, warum wir dieses Auto so lieben.
Das ist teuer,
Aber
teuer.
hört sich schon geil an, aber ich hätte ehrlich gesagt auch gerne. Jetzt. Neuer Motor übrigens, wenn du den haben willst, ohne die ganzen Anbauteile, kostet bei Mercedes 60.000 Euro. Also, das ist
auch ein 7 dafür.
Das ist die Unvernunft.
Holy, it's warm. And it's good. I sweeten the blackberries with a quarter cup sugar and a splash of water. Let it simmer to reduce some of the water, 5 to 6 minutes. Then strain through a fine mesh strainer. 5 egg yolks. Don't get rid of the egg whites. Smash to it 3/4 cup sugar and 1 cup whole milk. Heat over medium heat. Warm it through until all the sugar melts and heat it up to about 170 degrees. Slowly temper the eggs, whisking constantly. So this is going to bring the eggs up to temp so they don't scramble when you add them back into the pot. And heat the mixture back up to 170 degrees. Cut the heat, coating the back with a spoon. That's called nappe. Then pour in 2 cups of the green and help that pour. Now extract black raspberry puree. You gotta strain it. Just in case there's any eggs. Into the refrigerator a few hours.
Everything about this car is correcto. It's correcto. I love these that's the screen.
Das sind richtig geile Felgen, verdammt nochmal.
The carbon fiber. It's like if you want a Lambo, yeah, and you want to show out and say, look, I'm better than you. This is the one. The right amount of carbon fiber, they didn't try and do it everywhere. That's not matte. It's like, would you call it brushed? I don't know, it's just normal whatever. But then the shiny this tint as well. It's good. And then a bit of the carbon fiber over here. The carbon fiber all down here. I've got this material in the car. It's not suede. Alcantara. And it's another person that knows how to spec a car, man. Triple salute, man. Look at this. It's like a shark. Like an aggressive one that's definitely gonna kill you. Look at that spoiler. Look at the exhaust. I love the fact that you've got this open and you can see inside and get a sneak peek. of what you can't afford, you bastard. 400. This is the car you buy when you have a heavy, nasty divorce. Get that. You say, I'm a better man now. Everything about this car is correcto. It's correcto. I love these.
Schau mal die Felgen an.
That's, it just screams, fuck yeah, what are you gonna do about it? I love these intakes, the carbon fiber. It's like if you want a Lambo, yeah, and you want to show out and say, look at me in my Lamborghini, I'm better than you. This is the one. The right amount of carbon fiber, they didn't try and do it everywhere. That's not mad. It's like, would you call it brushed? I don't know, it's just normal whatever. But then the shiny this thing as well. It's good. And then a bit of the carbon fiber over here. The carbon fiber all down here. I've got this material in the car. It's not suede. Alcantara. And it's another person that knows how to spec a car, man. Triple salute, man. Look at this. It's like a shark. Like an aggressive one that's definitely gonna kill you. Look at that spoiler. Look at the exhaust. I love the fact that we've got this opening. You can see inside. You get a sneak peek of what you can't afford, you bastard. 400. This is the car you buy when you have a heavy, nasty divorce. Get that. You say, I'm a better man now. Everything about this car is correcto. It's correcto. I love these.
Die Felge. Wie viel ist da? 1, 2, 3, 4. Von da. 1, 2, 3, 11. 11. Die ist zu geil, die Felge. Schau mal. In der Mitte ist auch 11, aber das ist irgendwie...
Wie ich eingegangen bin, erst einmal hier reduziert.
Schauen wir das mal genauer an.
Dafür habe ich meinen Stopp sozusagen vor einem Swing verdient und alles war in Ordnung. Der Swing an sich war so lange
Klar, ja.
Entweder
Das ist
der
logisch,
Markt
ja.
wird mich unten ausstoppen oder geht's dann, weil hier
Ich stört
hat
das.
ja erst einmal
Das
alles
flasht,
gegeben,
schau mal, das
was ich
flasht.
zumindest mal gedacht
Holy
habe. Entweder
shit.
Ausstopper für den Swing und das bleibt
sieht einfach
auf
geil
dem
aus,
einfach
ey.
mal bestehen oder der läuft dann wunderbar und hat er ja auch getan. Und diese Position, die ich als Swing gehabt habe oder habe, musste ich exakt bei 30.000 der Gewinn rausnehmen und jetzt sind wir sozusagen in der Swing-Position und Trade-Position pari. Mit der Trade-Position habe ich komplett hier geschlossen, also ich hatte kein
Wer sind die Deutschen, weißt
sondern den Swing bleibt, verwaltet und jetzt
Das ist
war
so am Arsch, ey.
in
Weißt du, es
Nasdaq
ist so am
genau
Arsch.
wichtig in diesem Bereich ergibt sich dann eine gute Hedge-Position, zumindest mal ein bisschen.
Das Auto ist wirklich ein Todesfall. Schau, nur wegen den Rädchen einfach schon nur.
Hat sich ja auch
Genau mit dem Auto bin ich schon gefahren. Es ist immer noch genau der gleiche Schrott. Der Gallardo, mit dem Gallardo bin ich gefahren.
Aber
Das ist ein geiles Auto.
ja, für mehr Korrektur genauso auch hat nicht mehr gereicht, aber
Dank der Dagmar.
Oben ein bisschen besser, schöner korrigiert als der DAX macht. Aber insgesamt beide geben sich nicht.
Immer wenn ich das
also
aufsage, das Sprüche, dann
sind
passiert
noch
etwas Gutes auch.
in einem Bereich, der in beide Märkte, also DAX sowie Nasdaq, jetzt sind sie sich irgendwie einig, wobei ich für Nasdaq ein bisschen mehr bullish bin. So, noch.
Ich? Bei mir, ja.
Also, als DAX. DAX ist zwar, wie gesagt, geht auch, aber muss ich immer wieder nach zu machen. Denn solange sich I've been playing this puzzle game on my phone. It's called Arrows Go. It's simple.
So, usually in a city building game, you invest in public transit to fix traffic jams and just reduce the overall car dependency. But what happens when your own
fix you built for a dangerous intersection creates a smaller, sneakier danger of its own. That's exactly what happened when American cities scaled up simple roundabouts into busy, multi-lane ones. Fatal crashes dropped, but fender benders from mid-circle lane changes spiked.
In the Netherlands, one engineer had already solved this exact riddle back in 1996. It would take America almost 3 decades to notice.
Summerlin, Nevada, 1990. A developer pours a plain circle of asphalt into a residential intersection outside Las Vegas, drops a yield sign at each opening, and calls it done. No ribbon cutting, no press release. Just America's first modern roundabout, sitting in a subdivision full of drivers who had never seen one before in their lives. They hated it almost immediately. Local news sent a crew out within weeks, and the footage plays like a small town encountering fire for the first time. Plays like a small town encountering fire for the first time.
While they do seem confusing, the main purpose of them is safety out there. No one needs to cut across another flow of traffic to get where they want to go. Roundabouts keep traffic flowing and going in the same direction.
Residents staring at the paint, unsure who's supposed to go first, unsure why anyone would swap a perfectly good red light for this. Even the police on camera call it confusing. The officers sent to explain the intersection to angry drivers can't fully explain it themselves. Summerlin's crashes were rare, and the ones that happened were slow. Nothing like the high-speed collisions a stoplight intersection produces. Engineers noticed, and they wanted that benefit on busier roads carrying real American traffic. So throughout the 90s and 2000s, they scaled the design up, single lane to double lane. Then intersections where 2 lanes fed in and 2 lanes fed out on every way. Engineers called a 2x2 multi-lane roundabout, built to swallow far more cars than one Nevada subdivision ever saw.
The capacity worked, the lanes didn't. Ask a driver to pick one of 2 lanes before entering a circle, hold it through a curve, and exit without knowing where the car beside is headed. And some percentage of drivers will guess wrong every time.
A driver aiming for the second exit realizes too late she's in the outside lane, drifts inward to correct, and the driver next to her, headed somewhere else entirely, has nowhere left to go. Nobody's driving fast, nobody's dying, but metal meets metal, mid-turn, over and over, inside the exact intersections engineers had built to be the safe option. Overseas, in the Netherlands, they'd hit the same wall, scale a roundabout up to 2 lanes, and drivers start clipping each other mid-turn.
And as America was racing to implement its first roundabouts, the Dutch had already moved on to a new design, the turbo roundabout.
It's 1996. Bertus Fortuyn is a researcher and lecturer at Delft University of Technology's Transport and Planning Department, working through why drivers in standard multi-lane roundabouts kept clipping each other mid-turn. His thesis? The problem can't be solved at Delft University of Technology's Transport and Planning Department, working through why drivers in standard multi-lane roundabouts kept clipping each other mid-turn. His thesis? The problem can't be solved with a new sign or a new rule, but instead with concrete, raised, mountable, spiral dividers that physically separate the lanes as they curve through the intersection, forcing every driver to commit to a lane before they even enter the circle, not somewhere in the middle of the turn once it's too late to back out. Drift out of position after that point, and you're riding up over a curb, not sliding into the car beside you.
It's a neat theory on paper. Does it hold up once it's built? So, before we get to that data, if you want the rest of these designs broken down as they come, it's worth hitting subscribe now.
One quick clarification. Turbo in this context, it doesn't mean fast. Look down on the intersection from above, and the lane markings spiral outward towards the exits, like the blades of a turbine. That's the whole naming logic. The geometry is built to slow cars down moving through it, not speed them up.
So by 1996, the Netherlands had a fix on paper for the exact crash pattern Americans would complain about. But would it actually work when it hit Dutch pavement?
It worked. The first turbo roundabouts went into the ground in 2000, and the design spread fast enough that the Dutch government wrote its own national design guidelines for them. In 2009, Fortuyn published his findings in Transportation Research Record, validating his concept for the world. His own measurements found an 80% reduction in injury accident risk at turbo roundabouts. For long-term planning, he recommended engineers assume a more conservative number, 70%. Other researchers went back and checked his work against roads he never touched. Windesheim's University numbers, 75% fewer crashes with injuries than a regular intersection. The kind with a signal, a stop sign, four-way traffic, figuring out who goes first. Dutch research puts turbo roundabouts at 72% fewer accidents than a standard multi-lane roundabout.
So would this make sense in America? The Federal Highway Administration has run the numbers on converting standard American intersections to roundabouts of any kind.
Replace a stop-controlled intersection and fatal and serious injury crashes drop by roughly 90%. Replace a signalized one, and they drop by nearly 80%. The IIHS calculates that stop-controlled intersection and fatal and serious injury crashes drop by roughly 90%. Replace a signalized one, and they drop by nearly 80%. The IIHS calculates that converting just 1 in 10 of America's signalized intersections would have prevented more than 50,000 crashes in 2024 alone. 289 of those fatal. We weren't optimizing our roundabout designs to minimize low-speed crashes. We were trying to solve our fatal intersections first.
But still, if we were building roundabouts across America for the first time, why were we wedding ourselves to a design that was already outdated?
Because nobody in America had actually built one, and the knowledge didn't cross the Atlantic on its own. In 2017, Bill Baranowski of Roundabouts USA flew to the Netherlands and sat down with the Dutch engineers who'd been building these things for 2 decades, trying to get the geometry right in his own head before he ever tried to sell it back home. A year later, Job Tigelard did the reverse trip, a Delft graduate who in 2018 went on what he called his own quest, city by city, making the case for the turbo roundabout to American engineers in person. He then took a job at Arcadis' Atlanta office to keep making it. It took until February 2022 to see someone try it. Jacksonville, Florida, Merrill Road and University Boulevard, $4 million. America's first operational turbo roundabout. WJCT sent a crew out, and the coverage sounds almost exactly like Summerlin in 1990. Drivers calling it confusing. One segment opening with the line that if you hear turbo roundabout around town, it's not a Mario Kart level.
Same bewildered footage 3 decades later, same paint nobody had seen before.
California followed. Highway 25 and 156 near Hollister and Gilroy, a Caltrans job running roughly $11 million, opened in the winter of 2023 into 2024 at a junction that used to crash at nearly double the state's average rate for that kind of intersection. Then Alabama. Early 2025, Jefferson County finishes a 5-leg turbo roundabout in McCalla for $10.8 million, under budget, and county officials are intersection. Then Alabama. Early 2025, Jefferson County finishes a 5-leg turbo roundabout for that kind of intersection. Then Alabama. Early 2025, Jefferson County finishes a 5-leg turbo roundabout in McCalla for $10.8 million, under budget, and county officials are calling the early feedback overwhelmingly positive.
3 states, 3 checks written, 3 intersections rebuilt around the spirals. A start, but hardly mass adoption. And there's still one thing we haven't talked about. The turbo roundabout may be safer for cars, but are they safer for everyone else?
The Fietsbond, the Dutch Cyclists Union, has complained about unacceptably long crossing delays for cyclists at turbo roundabouts. David Hembro, a writer who covers Dutch cycling infrastructure, summed up the design's whole intent in one line. Turbo roundabouts were never intended to make things better for cyclists or pedestrians. Cyclists, he added, felt much like them. Hembro points to why. The same geometry that blocks drivers in their lanes hands a cyclist 2 exit lanes to cross at once. 2 lanes of cars leaving the circle side by side. No signal, no guarantee either driver is looking. And the narrow, divided lanes leave no room for a driver to pull around the cyclist even if they wanted to. One roundabout in Eindhoven, the Florplein, has become the example everyone points to. Footage of the crossing there circulates under the title, Very Dangerous for Cyclists. But some of this is by design. Dutch research found that cyclists are roughly 4 times more likely to be injured at roundabouts where they're given right-of-way over cars than at roundabouts where they aren't. Fortune's design forces that issue. It strips cyclist priority out on purpose.
Same locked lanes and no-yield entries that stop a driver from drifting into another car are the reason a cyclist can't count on drivers ceding space at all.
Hembro, the Fietsable, and the engineers who build these things all land in the same place. A turbo roundabout belongs at a motor vehicle-only junction, a highway interchange, a rural crossing with no foot or bike traffic at all. Nobody involved in designing it ever pitched this as something that would help a cyclist or a pedestrian. It was built to solve a car problem.
Which might sound nice to automobile-dependent America, but in the US, how many more of these is anyone actually planning to build, and where do they intend to put them?
The entire American inventory of turbo roundabouts 3 years after Jacksonville is
America. But in the US, how many more of these is anyone actually planning to build, and where do they intend to put them?
The entire American inventory of turbo roundabouts 3 years after Jacksonville is 3 intersections in 3 states. The Dutch have scattered nearly
To build, and where do they intend to put them?
the entire American inventory of turbo roundabouts 3 years after Jacksonville is 3 intersections in 3 states. The Dutch have scattered nearly 300 across a country smaller than Kentucky itself. Nevada's own transportation researchers looked at this gap and wrote, "The adoption use of turbo roundabouts has been limited, and few recent applications exist anywhere in the country."
It doesn't make sense. Nevada's researchers also found a basic turbo roundabout cutting traffic conflicts by 18 to 30%
Das ist schlimm, ja.
over a standard 2-lane design. Numbers good enough that the same report drove a pilot deployment plan to a
Es geht
state.
jetzt um den
So
Turbo-Roundabout
far,
auch noch
that
zu
plan
ja.
is where it ends.
Das darf nicht passieren, der
Not
Turbo-Roundabout. Ja.
paper.
In Kentucky, progress is actually happening. For years, the state's transportation cabinet told the public turbo roundabouts were coming. And to explain the concept to residents who'd never seen one, they pointed to a photograph of Jacksonville, a single Florida intersection aging in the sun, because that was the best example they had. Now, the state's first turbo roundabout is nearly finished in Elizabethtown at Ring Road and North Miles Street, America's 4th, 30 years after Fortune drove the first spiral.
35 years ago, a subdivision outside Las Vegas got a painted circle nobody understood. Today, thanks to the Dutch, the roundabout is a solved problem, and the trade-offs are clearly understood. But we're still mostly building the wrong thing.
Questionable planning decisions create a tram jam. This is Seaburg, and right now its most famous avenue is completely gridlocked. Not by cars, but by the exact trams that were supposed to get rid of the cars. Untangling this mess is going to get complex. So if you like complex, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and let's dive in. Oh, this is just proper terrible. Just look at the amount of trams queued up here. And this is just a random moment in time. I didn't wait for this to queue up to create a dramatic intro. Sometimes the queue is down here, sometimes it's a bit further into the city, but there's always some queuing up. And I think fixing this is going to require a lot of different approaches. I don't think there's like one easy fix that's going to fix all of it. Because ideally, I want to try to fix it without doing too many changes to this central avenue. Because because having a double-track tram section moving through a very busy segment isn't super unrealistic. Plenty of cities have some really, really busy tram segments, including Melbourne, so there are definitely other places to start. And I think this intersection we're looking at right now is one of the main issues because it takes a lot of space. And obviously, the trams won't enter this intersection before they know they have a full clearance on one of the other sides. And right here, that is a bit of an issue. This guy here just needs to go because we're feeding a major highways, expressway thingy
Also ist so, ich muss weg von da, glaub mir's.
and I don't think
Ich
that's
muss weg da.
necessary. So,
Das bestimmt auch nicht im Scheißland. Jetzt nicht so schnell.
Well,
Ein paar
that
Jahre,
was
so
a bit
5
of a
Jahre oder
drastic
so.
decision. I think I'm gonna keep the
Long
game paused for just a
5
little
Jahre.
while as we reroute what used to carry quite a bit of traffic, so it's obviously not rush hour
Ohne
currently,
Scheiß
but it's pretty important like arterial moving into the city. We're gonna grab this segment here and we're gonna upgrade, or I guess downgrade, this segment right here so that it just kind of continues. We don't need all these lanes. We don't need this segment either. We need to get this connection in place. And while an attempt to fix tram traffic is what led to this decision, I think overall it's just going to be a good visual change as well. I think it's going to make this part of the inner city look a little more organic because we can do something more interesting with this area than running a 5-lane expressway through it. But then being able to see the
Bro, wie das
scars
Noten,
of
weißt
bad planning decisions of the past.
Die ganze Zeit
is,
wirst du
pretty
umgarnt
realistic
und
and adds a lot
plötzlich
of fun
kommt
narrative.
irgendeiner und schupft dich vor
I
den
think we
Zug.
might just
Glaub
keep
mir's.
this as like an open
Ich kenn's, ich
scar,
habe schon
now turned
1000 so
into
Leute
a bit of a
getroffen.
park or recreational space.
Und schon jene
And
hat mich
maybe a bit
probiert
of housing on
umbringen.
this
Das ist
side.
so.
So let's just get a few connected
Aber am Bullen
roads
glaubt er das
added
nicht.
in.